Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm the City Witch. Today's video is another one for the Tarot and Oracle collections that I'm showing you. So as always, there's going to be two decks in this one, both of which are Oracle decks. They are by two completely different creators and both of them have their own unique style of doing things. So the first one I'm going to talk to you about is the Oracle of the Unicorns deck. Enter the Enchanted Realm of Magic and Miracles. This is by Cordelia Francesca Brabs, I think. I'm terrible at names, guys. So sorry if I said that wrong. Correct me, feel free. But this is what the box looks like, and that is the back. So this is a 44 card deck, and it does come with a guidebook, which looks like that. There is nothing on the back. The book itself is made from recycled paper, which I do like because, you know, save the environment and all that. I'm all for that. The book itself comes with some beautiful imagery and artwork inside it, comes with a full introduction, and it talks to you about connecting to the unicorns, which I really enjoyed. So the first bit is all about the unicorns and how to call in the unicorns and work with them. There is also a Meet Your Unicorns guide and blessing for your deck and a free MP3 meditation, which you can use by scanning that code and gain access to it. There is also a website which gives you lots of information on how to use this deck and lots of insights on how others have used this deck as well, which is really handy if you're just first learning how to use this deck. There is a self-guided meditation, caring for your deck, which I think is really nice. A lot of people don't put that in there, and I like that. She talks about cleansing it, about working with crystals, things like that. So lots of little tidbits on how to cleanse and work with the deck. Using your cards as well. She gives you a little affirmation to say as well to connect to your cards, and she gives you ideas on connecting to your cards as well. She talks to you about shuffling techniques as well and how they affect the cards and the spreads. Trust your intuition, so she gives you examples on how to work with your intuition and to, rather than focus too much on what the book says, use your own way of interpreting it as well, which I think is great because not enough authors, I feel, put that in their guidebooks. And let's be honest, guys, the way for you to connect to any deck, whether it's tarot or oracle, is to go on your own instinct as well. Now, it's great to learn the cards, it's great to know what those cards specifically mean, but if you pull a card and despite everything the book is telling you and the information about a card, if you feel it means something else, your gut instinct is what you should always go with. That is the biggest tip I can give you with working with any tarot or oracle deck. Just anything that comes to mind as you're reading the cards, as you're pulling them out, just say it, just go with that flow, because that is a connection that only you have to those cards. Doesn't matter if the person in front of you is an expert that you're reading for and they know that card means something specific. They're not going to get that feeling, that instinct that you did, because they're connected to you, they're not connected to the other person. So always go with your instinct, guys. And I love that she talks about that in this book. The next thing she goes on to say is she gives you some suggested unicorn spreads. So she gives you a daily one card pull, which most decks do. And then she gives you one called Throughout the Forest, which is a 4 card spread. And that one covers the past, the present, the future. And then the 4th card is called The Light, which I really like. And then she's got the Elemental Star as well. And I'll show you those two, just to give you an example. Then the next one is the Path of Miracles spread and the Pegasus spread. And I really like the Pegasus spread because it's kind of like, you can almost imagine the wings there, and that would be the centre and the head of the unicorn. So I really like that one. And then the last one is Unicorn Horn spread, which kind of looks like that. Doesn't look like a horn at all, but there we go. And then she goes on to talk about the cards throughout the rest of the book, giving you an interpretation, and you get some extra artwork like that as you go through it as well. So that is the book, guys. So I'm now going to talk to you about the cards. So the first thing I'm going to say is the back kind of looks like that, and the card is pretty thin. It's a little bit better than some other decks I have. Some of them are so thin that you could, you know, rip them really easily. This one's not that thin, but I'd still say it's pretty thin. It is glossy, so you can see it shines. And the one thing I don't like, and I've said this before, is I don't like when the pattern on the back is too easy that you know when it's upside down. I much prefer it when it's a basic pattern and I cannot tell if the card is reversed or the right way up. I like to be surprised. I like to flip it over and go, oh, and really think about what the card means in its opposite format, rather than just, you know, automatically know, oh, well, that's going to be reversed. I don't like that. I like to be surprised as I'm flipping them over. That's a me thing, guys. So I'm now going to show you the cards, and I'm going to run through this as quick as possible because, you know, this can get quite tiring and lengthy. There are 44 of them. So with these cards, I find that each one is very colourful. There is a main title to each card and then a little bit of a statement underneath that gives you an example of what the cards potentially mean. The imagery on this is beautiful, and the artist really worked hard on this deck. I believe a lot of the art in this deck as well is by completely different artists. I don't believe one person worked on it. I think it was a collection of different artists and different styles, which I also quite liked. I like how colourful they are, how bright they are, but I also like how each unicorn in the picture looks completely different. They're not just your typical style of unicorn. Some of them are elementals, some of them are Pegasus, some of them are unicorns with just the horn, and some of them are a mix of horn and wings. And I do like as well that they have some humans in there, some deities, some other animals. That was a really nice combination, I felt. Like that one's, you know, quite literally a Pegasus made out of fire. And again, she did quite a nice healthy mix of positive kind of birth and new life energy to this, but she also did some like decaying darker energies as well. So they're not always about light. Sometimes there is some darkness to this and that we need to focus on our more shadow aspects or some difficult areas of our life. So I liked that about this. Some of the unicorns are different sizes, so that one's obviously human size, but the one before that was as small as, you know, a plant. So different species of unicorn are included, which I liked. And we're drawing to the end now, guys. Yeah, I like this deck. It's really pretty. That one's just beautiful. That's probably my favourite card, guys, because it's so dark. And that is all the cards. So ways that I have personally used this deck. Now, I do use them for client work, so I do use them for actual divination. I find these cards pretty easy to interpret, mainly because the title gives you a clue, and then of the statement underneath also gives you extra clues. The imagery in it is quite easy to interpret maybe what it means as well. I mean, that one's abundance, but you've got the rainbow in the background, so even if it didn't tell you abundance, you know, rainbows tend to lead to a pot of gold, which is finance and money and prosperity, so abundance. So there are clues in these cards to what they mean, which I really like, but she hasn't made it too simple, so it's not obvious and in your face, but it's very subtle symbology, which I really liked. I love how colourful they are. I love the feel of these cards. They are perhaps maybe a smidge too big. I mean, as I do that, I mean, I'm stretching my hand to be able to shuffle them like that. So I actually have accidents with these where I drop them a lot. So there's a lot of usually jumping cards, but mainly through my own fault of dropping them. So I wish they were maybe a smidge smaller. But having said that, they look really nice when I'm working with them with meditations. I have a beautiful stand which was bought for me, and I tend to stand the card up, have a little candle going, some incense, some crystals and shells surrounding that, symbolism of perhaps the deck as well. So I have a couple of unicorn symbols, little statues and things that I will probably spread on that. And if I'm working with the unicorns in that way, I would dress that little space to do with unicorns and welcome them into that space before I do meditations. That's one example of how I've worked with these. I also have a unicorn horn wand, which is made out of selenite, and that's another way that I like to use it. And I like to draw affirmations or spell out certain words and send that energy out into the world using that as well. So that is another way that I've combined the cards with magic. I have actually used these in spells as well. I've used them as daily focuses, and I've used them for personal guidance with my own unicorns as well. So if you'd like any examples of working with the deck a bit more in detail, then drop me a message, guys. I'm happy to give you even more details. So for that one, I would score quite high, probably about an 8 out of 10. Do enjoy that deck, really like the style. The creator didn't give too much information, so there's enough for you to go on to do a base or a building block of what the card means, but then you can go from there and build up your own interpretations, which I appreciated. And I like the spreads that were given that were specifically tailored for the unicorns, really clever spreads, and they've worked really well for me. So yeah, probably easily about an 8 out of 10 from me for that one, guys. So the next one I'm going to show you is a more recent deck. Now, I haven't had time to practice with this one fully. I think I've only had this less than 2 years. It was a gift from a friend. How I started working with this deck is I would pull one each morning and I would try and contemplate what the card was trying to tell me. But I have to say, these are really difficult cards to work with. There is virtually no information on them whatsoever. And one of the biggest things I don't like about this deck is each card, instead of having a number or a statement which gives you a clue, instead it has Roman numerals on it. I'm crap at Roman numerals, I've got to be honest, guys. That really turned me off when it comes to this deck. But I love the imagery, love the artwork, love how beautiful the cards are. They are truly bright and really nice cards to work with. So this one is called the Dragon Path Oracle deck, and it's by Caroline Mitchell. And this is what it looks like. And the back is just literally just a description, so nothing special. And then you've got the book. So the book is quite tiny. There is no colour information in it whatsoever, but it does give you a description of all of the cards. I've actually forgotten to count these cards, so I don't actually know how many is in this. Sorry, guys. But the first bit of the book is dragons and the origins of these cards and why you would choose dragons. Talks to you a little bit about dragons and connecting to you, so how dragons and humans work together. The Earthwalk Dragon, the Grand Master, the Gaelic Guardians, and how to use the cards. And then after that, it's just a description of all the cards, and it kind of looks like that. So I'm going to show you the deck now and talk to you about the deck before I go any further. So the first thing is the back of it kind of looks like that. So it's quite a nice, decent card stock. It's shiny and glossy. And as you can see, it's gone for this star pattern. Now, as I've mentioned before, I really like when the back is quite plain so that you don't know basically whether it's reversed or the right way up. You're going to be a bit surprised. However, I don't know if you've noticed, but this is shaped like a dragon. So the wings, the head, the horns. So if I hadn't have said that, you might not have known it. And if I tip it on the side, maybe it's not as easy to know. And as you can see, so it is supposed to be a dragon in the heavens, which I thought was quite nice. But it's not as obvious as some of the other backs to other Oracle decks or other tarots I have. It's a bit more plainer, so it's on the ball for me. I do like that. I do like the card stock. I do like the quality of this. It's really nice quality, guys. So I'm now going to show you the cards, and you can have a good look at them. So these are all beautifully coloured cards, quite bright. And as I say, it comes with one statement at the top. So this one's called Delphine, and then Roman numerals at the bottom. Now, from that, you can clearly tell it connects to the ocean and dolphins and water, but that's literally all you could get from that. You couldn't really get too much else without reading the book and actually practicing the cards and learning their interpretations. I don't like the Roman numerals. I wish it had had an actual number, that maybe I could have interpreted a little bit of numerology in the deck as well. Or perhaps instead of a number, a few power words perhaps to help the newbie learn how to use them. That would have been a bit better. I don't actually use this deck personally for readings. I struggled with it so much that in the end I decided it would be better if I kept these for working with dragons and my dragon magic. So I use these a lot more for meditation. I use them a lot more for focus and dedications, and I have used them in spell work as well. And I use them for daily affirmations as well. So sometimes when I want to focus on a certain energy, I'll pull a card I feel reflects that, and I'll call upon the dragons to help me with that energy throughout the day. And that could be energies of courage, say for example, if I'm afraid of doing something that I absolutely have to, because we all have responsibilities and commitments and whatnot. Sometimes it's more that I want to work on something that I'm not happy about with myself, so perhaps my weight, or perhaps I'm not particularly feeling as beautiful that day and I want to be reminded that I'm a beautiful individual. Could be my chakras are not in balance, so I want to work at rebalancing them for the day. So there's a number of different ways I have used this deck, but none of them are covering actual readings and working with clients. It's personal work, to be honest. And as I have quite a number of decks for that already, I don't choose this one as my main one to go to. But I do if I'm working with dragons. And the last card, guys, which is stunning. So as I say, this deck, really beautiful, really colourful. If you like dragons, it might be something you want to consider, but I've got to be honest, guys, they are quite hard to work with. The interpretations are quite difficult, and I don't feel like the creator knew an awful lot about Oracle or Tarot as well, and I didn't feel like they knew too much about dragons themselves. I felt like all this information was stuff that they gathered from other sources rather than done their own interpretation. So personally for me, I would score this deck really quite low, probably a 4, maybe a 5 out of 10, but it wouldn't be any higher than that, which is a real shame. I am on a mission to find a deck out there based around dragons that I'm truly in love with, and I've yet to find that. Many years ago, I liked one, which was the Dragon Fae Oracle, and I had that deck for a long time, and I actually recently gave it up because I realised that I fell out of love with it. I didn't connect to the cards like I used to, and I didn't want it to have fairies in there. I wanted it to be just a dragon deck, and it wasn't that. Then I had a tarot deck, I believe, which was dragon themed, and again, that was awful. The creator really didn't know anything about tarot, and it was just the most basic thing. The book would give you the card and then maybe a few words what that card might mean, and that was literally it, and it was awful. There was no major interpretation, there was no dragon energy in there at all. It was just a deck with dragon images on it, so I didn't like that at all, so I gave that up. So I'm still on a mission. I'm sure I'll find it one day, but this came close. The artwork was exactly what I was looking for. The energy was what I was looking for, but it's just a shame that I don't feel I can use these for readings. I don't feel like I'm as connected and I could give a good reading yet with these. I feel like I definitely have to work harder at it and practice and study each card before I'm there. But you never know, maybe I'll get better at it. Practice makes perfect, right guys? And that's it. So that's those two, guys. I don't have any more for you today. So if you are interested in getting those decks, then let me know how you get on with it. If you came up with any ways that you felt were helpful using those decks, and if you'd like me to give you some examples of how I've used them, again, just drop me a line below. So thank you very much for watching, guys. As always, give me that thumbs up. It lets me know you did enjoy the video and I'm on the right track. And if you haven't clicked the bell button, please do so, because it'll let you know when my video comes out, because YouTube is terrible for that. And if you'd like to support me on any of my other social media, I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course I'm on Patreon. So for those of you who choose to support me on Patreon, thank you very much. I appreciate each and every one of you. So take care of yourselves, guys, and I'll speak to you very soon. Blessed be.